Yes. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Can you hear me? Good evening. Can you hear me? Okay. There is some. One second. All right. So if there is any issue with the voice, just let me know. All right. So yes, let's start today's class. We are going to start something new today, and the topic is going to be regional geography. Okay. So it's going to be regional geography, chapter number 4 or 5 of your paper number 1. Just a second. Tell me again, I'm repeating. Tell me if there is any issue with the voice because I will switch to a different mic. Just a second. Yes. Do you have any doubts with the last?
Doubts that you have with your last class? Did you guys go through the material that I gave you? There was a set of material that was given. Did you guys take printout of it? Say no. Did you go through that material? At least do you take printout of the material? I am talking about tribal issues, tribal problems, and I gave you a material. Did you guys go through it? Did you guys take printout of it? Yes. So make sure that you don't lose it. All right. Make sure that you don't lose it. There are high chances in if I put something in the Telegram group, there are high chances that it might be lost. Like our meetings, other that kind of Edinburgh, it will be lost somewhere. So make sure that your materials are proper with you. All right. Make sure that you are taking print out of that material because today we are going to start something new. The topic name is regional geography. This chapter, this chapter is a very, very highly application oriented topic. This is a very highly application oriented topic. Like you will not get a straight question from this chapter. So let's say that I am teaching. First of all, let me give you an introduction about this topic. Um, so let's say that I am going to Pythagoras theorem. Ask you what is Pythagoras theorem. Ask you how will you calculate Everest, Mount Everest at a 45 angle, so the height of I think we are losing the connection in between, but let's not worry. So I was talking about are we still connected? Can you guys hear me? Is there any breakage that you're facing? Okay, voice is breaking. My connection is also breaking in between. Let's say that, let's see from now. All right, let's see from now. Okay, listen to me. So there is a topic called as regional imbalance, which is given in paper number 1. So എങ്ങനെയാണോ question ചോദിക്കുന്നത് അതിനെ കുറിച്ചാണ് I'm just talking about that. So you have heard of this topic that there is a certain set of states which is called as Bimaru states, Vidarbha, of Maharashtra. Heard of these names? Yeah, sure. Thank you for that, Nandulal. I'll follow that. But now listen to the topic. Have you heard of these names? Bimaru states. Have you heard of something called as Vidarbha? Maharashtra faces constant drought, famine problems, and stuff like that. Heard of these names? Yes, no? So these are actually, okay, someone has replied. Let me just quickly check that. Someone just replied, no. Okay, so that's surprising. Okay, let me tell you. So do you know that states like Bihar, states like Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, they are constantly affected by poverty, right? So mostly these are tribal states and they are constantly affected by poverty. So there is a set of states called as Bimaru states comprising of Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, parts of Uttar Pradesh, and they are totally called as Bimaru states. And in fact, they are very, very poor states of the country. They are very poor states of the country. And so the question that UPSC will be asking is, what are the various tribal area related problems? What are the various steps that you will take for improving connectivity in mountainous region? What are the problems of the tribal regions? How will you I'll write it down. Tribal regions is one topic. How will you solve the problems of connectivity when we are talking about mountainous states of the Northeast? So they're talking about mountainous regions. Then can be another question about the what will you do to improve the watershed problems pertaining to the peninsular plateau states? How will you resolve the problem of water crisis? So watershed management programs in peninsular region. There can be questions like, what will you do for interlinking of river basins? If you observe interlinking of rivers, if you observe all of this question, there is something that is common in all of them. That is, all of them are a set of a region-based problem. All of them are a set of region-based problem. All of this are applications or application-based questions, of regional geography. Okay, so how will questions be asked in regional geography? Basically, it is a set of application-based questions. The first thing that I want you guys to register in your mind is this concept that questions will be mostly 60-70% of it will be application based questions. It will not be a direct theory based questions. All right. So first thing that we need to know is this, and so there will be two chapters which we will be covering under this heading. Just a second. Let me take my syllabus sheet. Okay, so if you analyze the syllabus sheet, chapter number 4 talks about, chapter number 4 of paper 1 talks about concept of region, types of regions, method of regionalization, regional imbalances. These are the important things. And then they have concepts like environmental issues in regional planning, planning for sustainable development. ഇതൊക്കെയാണ് chapter number 4 paper 1 കൊടുത്തിട്ടുള്ളത്. പിന്നെ something that is very closely related to regional planning that is given in paper number 2 is chapter number 8. Have you seen this? Regional development and planning. There is a chapter called as regional development and planning. So there you have yes, panchayati raj based development, watershed based development. What is the planning, or what is the regional planning that you will take for backward areas, for desert areas, for drought prone areas, for hill area development, and all of that. Okay, so basically your regional geography chapter number 2 talks about the theory, and chapter number 8 talks about regional geography specifically to Indian perspective. Out of this, combined of these two chapters, only or mostly 60-70% mostly only application based questions will be asked, like these kind of questions, whatever I have discussed right now. Okay, so you must be in a position, chapter when I'm discussing only, I will not be discussing many theories, I will be discussing more of examples. Okay, even when explaining this chapter, I'll be discussing more of examples. So today's class is going to be just an introduction class. We'll start the topic from tomorrow mostly. But let's give the first heading. The first topic that is given to you is concept of a region. Yes, chapter number 4. Let me clear this. Chapter number 4. The first thing that they talk about is concept of a region. Now this, before starting any of this, let me ask you a quick question. In fact, two questions. Perot and Bodivilly. This topic has been done under by Ajosa. Has this been taken by Ajosa? Has he completed chapter number 5, models and theories? Yes or no? What happened, guys? Are you all there? It's like me alone talking from the beginning. Is there any issues with the voice? Can you hear me? Have I lost the connection again? Are we still connected? Yes, no? Okay, so we are connected. Okay, and this was discussed. Okay, so this was taken already, right? So that's the point. Because again, I don't want to take growth centers and growth poles, but I will give you a quick discussion, not a quick discussion, a detailed discussion about growth centers and growth poles. But I believe I will not be touching Perot and Bodyville in detail because that was already taken, or that is a part of chapter number 5. Right. So let's and cumulative causation model, cumulative causation theory. This should also have been dealt, a very small theory, not a very big theory, very small thing. These are some things that you will be learning under chapter number 5, models and theories. In fact, when he discussed about Perot and Bodyville, I'm sure that he might have taken about cumulative causation theory. In fact, some other cases also, even I have discussed or touched a line about cumulative causation before, if you could recollect. But okay, anyway, this is taken. So I believe this was done. So growth centers and growth poles, part of that might have also been done. Yes or no? Yes. Thanks, Roshan. Fine. So let's start. First of all, again, as soon as I tell you the name or the word region, anything that you have done before in perspectives come to your mind? Regional geographers, prominent regional geographers. This is how you should be connecting one chapter with another. Any prominent regional geographers comes to your mind? Okay, but let's talk about more important regional geographers. Okay. Anybody else? Who was the one person who in fact gave a solid definition with regard to regional geography? One name. I'm expecting one name. One or two names. Okay. But anything. Hartshorne? Heard of him? Yes. Yes. Another prominent person would be Hetner. Another person would be Lablanche. So Vidal, the Lablanche. So these people are said to be the pioneers with respect to regional geography. First of all, let's try to have a basic definition about the word region. Let's try to have a basic definition about the word, nothing much. Today's class is going to be very light-hearted. And in fact, this chapter itself is going to be very light-hearted. So let's do this. Region, first of all. When do you say that when can I call something to be a region? When can I call something to be a region? Let's say that I am calling um, a tribal region. I use the word tribal region. In the beginning, I use the word tribal region. I use the word mountainous region of the Northeast. Yes. Then I use the word Vidarbha region. I said that they will have problems like famines, problems like droughts. Because of that, there will be farmer suicides and stuff like that. In all these places, if you observe, in all these examples, if you observe, one thing is very, very common. There are certain characteristics which is very common. Here, what is common? a group of tribes will live in that region, and there will be some problems which is unique to that tribe. There will be certain problems which is unique to that tribe. So there are some human aspects, which is unique to that particular region. Or I can say there will be some cultural aspects which is unique to that group of people. Yes, tribes have their own culture, so they will have their own set of cultural aspects which is common to that entire geographical space. If I am talking about Vidarbha region, I told you that there will be some famines, that there will be some droughts, so stuff like that. So there are some environmental factors which is unifying a particular space, a geographical space. It is unifying a certain geographical space. If I'm talking about mountainous region of Northeast, there is some unifying factors in terms of physical geography, in terms of physical geography. So in short, a region can be defined in such a way that there is some homogeneity. There is some homogeneity of factors. There is some homogeneity. What is homogeneity? What is the word homogeneity meaning? There is some unity. There is some commonality of factors. That there is some common factors. Very simply, that there are some common factors. So there are some homogeneity of factors within a geographical space, within a geographical space, within a geographical space. And when there is such a geographical space which has a certain uniformity of factors, certain homogeneity of factors, we can call that to be a region. We can call that to be a region. So a region is a part of the Earth's surface which is having or which is marked by certain properties that are homogeneous or common in nature within that particular space, within that particular geographical space. So that's how I can define a particular region. Now, a region can have, when I'm comparing region A and B, there can be one set of common factors. When I'm comparing A and C, there will be another set of common factors. Like for example, let's say that I am comparing, Trivandrum with Ernakulam. Okay. So in that case, I'm comparing Trivandrum with Ernakulam. In that case, what can be the common factor? Both have the common factor being monsoonal climatic character, which is one type of common factor. When I'm comparing Trivandrum with Chennai, then also there is a commonality that both are state headquarters. But is there, I can actually compare Ernakulam and Trivandrum and Ernakulam, and I'm comparing Trivandrum and Chennai. There are a set of common factors for both of them. Just a second. There are a set of common factors for both of them, but let me tell you, the common factor in first case is different from the common factor in the second case. Yes or no? There is a difference with respect to the commonality of factors. So in that aspect, I can say, Oru comparison, I can have one set of unique characteristics with another set of comparison. I can have another set of unique characteristics. So regional geography, in fact, have you understood this example that there are two different set of characters when I'm comparing one single city of Trivandrum with two different places. So regional geography studies the specific unique characteristics of places that is related to culture, maybe their economy, maybe their topography, it may be climate, it may be politics, it can be any different thing. But anyways, whenever I am comparing two different regions, there should be certain unique common character for them to be grouped as a region. I repeat, for any particular region to be grouped as a district, what should be the first thing? There should be a set of unique common characteristics so that we can call that as a region. Let me say that I am comparing, maybe if I'm comparing Kottayam with Idiki. Suppose I'm not able to bring about any common character. Assume that I'm not able to bring about any common character. Can I call that as a region? No. So the first thing that we need with regard to calling something as a region is there should be a commonality of character with respect to some amount of spatial dimensions. Okay. And another thing is, whatever that I have discussed here, when I'm comparing Trivandrum and Ernakulam, I compared about climate, monsoon character. When I'm comparing Trivandrum and Chennai, I said both are headquarters, politics, some administrative reasons I'm comparing. Yes or no? Now follow me. It is my own wish. It is my own wish what character I am picking from Trivandrum, what character I am picking from Chennai. That is why I can say regional geography is highly subjective in nature. These are important points. Whatever points that I'm telling you, take some running notes. Okay, take some running notes. Regional geography is highly subjective in nature. Once when I'm comparing Trivandrum and Ernakulam, I'm comparing climate regions, climate factors. Another time I'm using headquarters as a factor. Regional geography is highly subjective in nature. It depends on the geographer who is examining that particular region. So when Hartshorne is comparing a region, it will be different. When Hettner is comparing a region, it will be different. Regional geography is highly subjective in its approach. According to, take some definitions here, take some definitions. A region is an area on the Earth's surface marked by certain properties that are homogeneous from the inside and at the same time distinct from outside. It is a region is defined as a part of the Earth's surface with one or many similar characteristics that makes it unique from other areas. This can be with respect to culture, economy, climate, etc. Now, give certain headings. Vidal de la Blache definition of some prominent regional geographers. We'll write it down. First is Vidal de la Blache. This is a domain. A region is a domain. A region is a domain where many dissimilar things are artificially brought together and have subsequently adopted themselves to a common existence. and have subsequently adopted themselves to a common existence. Hartshorne's way of definition, take down. It is an area of specific location which in some way is very distinctive from other areas, and it extends as far as the distinction extends. It extends and it extends as far as the distinction extends. What does that mean? Follow me. Hartshorne says, look at this definition very, very carefully. It's pretty important. It is a region. Richard Hartshorne says this. It is a specific location which is very distinctive from some other areas. So let's take mountainous region. A mountainous region is very different from a mountainous region of the northeastern states is very different from your Ganga River basin. One second. What happened? One second. So Hartshorne says this, that a region is very distinctive from other areas. So a mountainous region of the northeast is very different from your Ganga River basin. And it will extend as far as the distinction extends. So how long is my mountain going to extend? Those regions will be called as mountainous region. As far as the distinction is extending, that will be called as one specific region. As far as my mountain is extending, I will keep calling it as a mountainous region. As far as a desert is extending, I will keep calling it as a desert region. So as far as the distinction extends, my region will also keep extending. Okay, the next question is, we are still in the first topic, concept of region. The next question that should come to your mind is, why should we learn about regions? Why do geographers use the concept of a region? Any given country, for that matter, any given country will have too many differentiating factors with respect to their climate, with respect to their politics, with respect to the topography. ചിലതൊക്കെ plains ആയി കാണാം, ചിലത് mountainous region ആയിട്ട് കാണാം, പിന്നെ ചിലതൊക്കെ coastal plains ആയിട്ട് കാണാം. So there will be different regions, right? There will be different factors. There will be different factors. Each of this factor, there will be too much of information to be gathered. If I'm going to talk about agricultural region with respect to India, I have to talk about what is the Kharif crops, what is the Rabi crops, what is the Zayed crops. If I'm talking about agricultural zonation patterns of India, then I have to talk about what is the pattern of cropping which is followed in the coastal plains, what is the pattern of cropping which is followed in the peninsula state, what about the northern plain belt, Ganga Valley, അവിടെയൊക്കെ എന്തൊക്കെയാണ് agriculture follow ചെയ്യുന്നത്. There is too much of information that I am getting. I need to categorize all these information into different headings. So for that, to simplify the information that I am getting, I need to read geography region wise. This I explained only with the help of agriculture. Take some other example. Let's say that I need to study about climate of India. I cannot say everywhere there will be rain during the months of June to mid of October. No. Southwest monsoon ഒരു pattern ആണ്, northeast monsoon മറ്റൊരു pattern ആണ്. പിന്നെ there will be something called as your westerly disturbances that comes during the months of winter, during the late winter, westerly monsoons, westerly disturbances. Region wise, Rajasthan will be getting a very low amount of rainfall, less than 50 centimeters, less than 25 centimeters. Arid parts of Rajasthan, semi-arid parts of Rajasthan. What about Ladakh region of Kashmir? There will be differences in terms of variability of rainfall. Too much of information. ഇതിനൊക്കെ classify ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് I need to have a simplification of the vast amount of information that I am getting from different spatial perspectives. I'm getting too much of information from different spatial perspectives. I have to simplify it. അതിനു വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് I'm classifying it, or geographers came to this classification of regional geography. So quick history that you have already done it before, but just a very quick history. Regional geography, it started somewhere in Europe. Mainly or specifically with the approach that was given by Vivaldi Lablache. He was the basic person, or the one person who gave roots to regional geography is someone from Europe, which is de la Blanche, Vivaldi la Blanche. He's very, very important. And from then onwards, 2-3 people are very, very important. And here comes the most important person, which is who is Hettner and Hartshorne. Hettner and Hartshorne. So again, Europeans, they gave a very clear differentiation with respect to regional geography. All right. Now, something that you need to understand is, how did regional geography begin in the initial stages? So during the times of 1930s, during the times of 1920s and 30s, then only some scientific differentiation of regions came into picture. Before that, it was very, very abstract. Human element was not taken into consideration. Environmentalism was environmentalist bias or environmentalism. This concept itself was lacking. Human element was lacking. And it was basically or highly, before 1930s, it was highly physical geography oriented regional differentiation. It was highly physical geography oriented regional differentiation. But later on, after your World War II, specifically after your world wars, only then people thought we have to approach the subject of regional geography scientifically. We should approach this topic more scientifically. So this concept of regional differentiation or areal differentiation came up only with the scientific study that was undertaken by many European scientists, which includes Hartshorne, Hettner, Schaffer, so on. Schaffer is another important person. So what happened is, environmental aspect of areal differentiation came into picture, because environmentalism, the concept only evolved much later. Human aspect of or the influence of human element over a region was felt much later on, and later on only we had this economic aspect was given to regional geography as well. Okay, so first of all, so this was a very quick history. Now understand, let me clear this. First of all, characteristics of a region. We will give you notes, don't worry. But what can be the different characteristics? Let's do a brainstorming here. The first thing is distinctiveness. Yes or no? There should be a certain amount of distinctiveness for a particular region to be called as a region. I can call a particular region as a tribal region only if it has been occupied by tribes. I can call something as a mountainous region only on the basis of its physical character. So every region will have a certain distinctiveness. Let us take Pala. we have the Brilliant Study Center, right? So Brilliant Study Center, people come here for NEET or IIT JEE. Then there is CSIP for civil service aspirants. So this area of Pala, where you generally come and go, this area of Pala is highly uh, a region where it has too many colleges. It has the Alfonso College, it has St. Thomas College. So there is a lot of students who get attracted towards this region, the small town of Pala. And therefore, we can call it as what? An educational province of Kottayam, an educational region of Kottayam district. A micro level analysis on it. So what is one thing that we are talking about? We are talking about distinctiveness, uniqueness. There should be a distinctive character or there should be a unique character. Second character is homogeneity. Whatever factor that I am talking about, there should be a homogeneous aspect. Or geographical element ആയി കാണാം, അതോ ഒരു human element ആയിട്ട് കാണാം, എന്തെങ്കിലും ഒരു unifying factor നമുക്ക് അവിടെ ഉണ്ടാവണം. Okay, so that's about homogeneity. The second thing is there will be heterogeneity towards its transitional boundaries. Let us say that I am moving from Kerala, I am moving towards Tamil Nadu. Okay, this border region will have a lot of heterogeneity. This border region will have a lot of heterogeneity. Some people will talk Malayalam, some people will talk Tamil, some people will be hardcore followers of Malayalam culture, some people will be hardcore followers of Tamil culture. Then there will be mixed category also. So there is a lot of heterogeneity. I cannot categorize into a single character. That is heterogeneity in the transitional boundaries. Then there will be a lot of similar issues that will be faced in such transitional boundaries. There will be some similar problems which will be faced in the transitional boundaries. With respect to planning process, it is essential that any given state or maybe a country is divided into different uniform regions. Planning cheyanamengil namakku adina regional geography is very important. So that is another important character. Another thing is region is highly dynamic in nature. A region is highly dynamic in nature. What will be maybe today you can classify it as a backward region, but tomorrow it will be maybe in a 10 years time, maybe in some 10 years time, it will be highly developed. So you cannot say region to be a static topic. What is today you can classify Bihar as a backward region. Today you can classify some portion of Chhattisgarh as a left-wing extremism affected region. But tomorrow, or maybe 5 years down the line, you can say that will be changed because of government policies, because of governmental interventions. So region is a highly dynamic topic. It has a highly dynamic character to it because a region changes with time. So these are the different characteristics of a region. These are the different characteristics of a region. Now coming to something called as structure of a region. Tell me quickly, are you taking running notes here? Again, I will be giving you notes, but it is specific. ഞാൻ പറയുന്ന example ഒക്കെ just make sure that you are writing down. Okay. whatever examples that I'm, because regional geography is one topic which you have to take down with examples. My examples may look stupid, but actually that is the examples that you should be giving it out. If I'm comparing Trivandrum with Chennai, make sure that you are also writing it down. Take running notes. Follow me very carefully. Saturday we are having 4 hours of class. Sunday we are having 4 hours of class. Make sure that you are taking running notes on all of these days. Okay, perfect. Some are telling yes, which means you guys are following, taking running notes, which is good. Now, good. Now, listen to this again. Before going any further, let me again tell you one more thing. Paper 1, mostly I will give you printed material. Paper 2 of regional geography. Paper 2, that is chapter number 8 of regional geography, I'll be dictating mostly. All right. So this one I will be giving you notes, but paper 2 mostly we'll have to sit and write notes. All right. So let me move forward. Structure of a region. Quick diagram, take this down. Node, zone, area. These three are basically the structure of a region. So first of all, we need to understand what do you mean by a node, what is a zone, what is an area, so on. Okay. Okay, so a node, follow me before drawing anything, just follow me. A node, from this word node, what is that one thing that is striking? When do you call something as a node? When it is like a center of a particular phenomenon, when it is a hardcore center, when it is a core of an area. A node is a core of, it is a core region or a core of any region. What will happen in a node is, suppose let's say that I am talking about administrative regions. I'm talking about administrative regions. What are the different administrative regions in India? From the ground level, from the local level, if I'm going from the grassroots level, I have my panchayats, I have my municipality, municipal corporation under, and then I have my these are urban local bodies, rural local bodies. Yes. After that, if I'm going one step ahead of it, what will be there? I have the Zilla, that is my district. I have my district which is headed by the district collector. Yes or no? So I have an urban local body, I have rural local body, I have a district headquarters. On top of it, I have the state headquarters. On top of it, I have the national headquarters. In all of this region, if I'm talking about or a district, which is the node, if I'm asking you, what will you tell me? You will tell me the district headquarters. If I'm talking about from the administrative perspective, if I'm asking which is the node of a district, you will tell me the node is definitely the district headquarters. From the state administrative perspective, if I'm asking you what is the node of this state administration, you will tell me that the Trivandrum, for example. Trivandrum is the state headquarters. Trivandrum is the administrative node of this entire state. From the national perspective, if I'm asking you what is the administrative node, everybody will tell Delhi. So everywhere node is a centralization of a phenomenon in any given region. I repeat, node is where you will be finding polarization or centralization, polarization or centralization of a phenomenon. What phenomenon? It can be any phenomenon, administrative phenomenon. It can be a phenomenon of backwardness. It can be a phenomenon of left-wing extremism areas. It can be a phenomenon of industrial locations. There can be many, many industries, but when I'm talking about Tamil Nadu, I can tell you that there are many, many industries. Like in Salem, I have many industries. In Coimbatore, I have many industries. So there are many, many industries. So these centers become node of a particular region. If I'm talking about Kerala, Ernakulam becomes a node of Ernakulam, and Trivandrum will become node of many, many software companies. Node is the centralization or polarization of a phenomenon which is observed in any region. Point number one. So in this diagram, if I have to draw this central region becomes my node. Node develop, take down, nodes will develop in a functional region. What do you mean by functional region? What do you mean by functional region? What are the different examples that I gave you right now? Administration is a function. Industrial activity is a function. Yes, if I'm talking about backward area development program which has been undertaken by the government of India, that is a function. And nodes will develop in any functional region. The centralization of that particular function, if I'm talking about the function of administration, center, that will become a node. Are you getting me? Are you getting this concept of node? Centralization, polarization of any phenomenon or concept. Yes. Yes, now follow me. Now we are going to the next order. We are going to the next important structure of a region, that is zone. Good. Follow me. Zone. What is a zone? A zone, let me change the ink. Or I can draw like this. Wait. This entire second ring that you observe is nothing but a zone. This is an area. A zone, now let's come to the second one, that is the zone. A zone is that segment of a region. A zone is a segment of a region where the intensity or the magnitude of the phenomenon will be maximum. A zone is that segment or portion of a region where the intensity or the magnitude of the phenomenon that you are studying is maximum. Phenomenon can be anything. Again, I'm repeating, phenomenon can be anything. It can be an administrative phenomenon. It can be a backward area phenomenon. It can be what? It can be an agricultural phenomenon. So let's say that if I'm talking about administration, let me take something that's very easy. Administration. If I'm talking about district headquarters, if I'm talking about district administration, what is the node of Kottayam district? It is Kottayam itself. Yes, it is Kottayam itself. Kottayam is the headquarters. So Kottayam itself is the node. Now, Around that node, there will be certain prominent places, right? Etumanur is one such prominent place. Pala is one such prominent place. So that all of that will be, you will know better than me. You will know better than me. You will know better prominent places in Kottayam than me. So let's say this region where the magnitude of the phenomenon is maximum, where there are a lot of police stations, where there are a lot of railway stations, that is the zone where the administrative aspect is maximum, where you have a government hospital nearby. So those are the administrative focus areas of a district administration, where there is a tertiary health center. That is an administrative focus area. So understand, the zone is that segment of someone. Yes, better. Zone is that segment where the intensity and the magnitude of the phenomenon which you're studying is going to be maximum. Finally, in this part, which is node plus zone, this border that you have, it is a transitional boundary. It is a transitional boundary. From this region, if you're going to the next circle like this, if I'm drawing about another node, this will be a different region. This will be a different region. And the boundary is called as a transitional boundary. A node plus zone plus a transitional boundary will together constitute area. I repeat, a node plus zone along with the transitional boundary will constitute area, and this area is nothing but a particular region. This area is nothing but a particular region. And the next important point is, inside this region, I will be having homogeneity. Homogeneity spelling. Okay, never mind. Homogeneity. Outside this region, that's why I have drawn this arrow. Outside of this region, there will be complete heterogeneity. Outside of this region, I will be having complete heterogeneity. So this is the structure of a node. So if I'm going to this region will be having a different character than this particular region. So outside the area, outside this zone, if I'm going, I'll be having heterogeneity of factors, and this is called as a structure of a region. Okay. The next one is, how can I broadly classify a region? There are many classification, but this is a broad classification. Let's go to that. Okay, 1 second. Classification of region. So we are moving on to the next topic, which is types of regions. That's given in your syllabus, types of regions or classification of regions. Right. Now follow me. Classification can be based on three factors broadly. Again, there are many types of classification, but simplicity's sake, I'm just taking three factors based on principle, based on size, and third one is pretty important, based on genesis of factors, based on genesis. Let's come to that. First of all, principle. Based on principle number പറയുമ്പോൾ based on principle of homogeneity, right, like this. First one, natural region. Second one, cultural region. Economic region. A natural region, a cultural region, and an economic region. So what can be a natural region? Basically, if I am classifying on the basis of natural factors, physical factors, based on natural factors, geographical factors, physical geographical factors, then I can call it as a natural region / a physical region. Okay. All right, natural factors or physical factors. So this will include characters like, if I'm classifying on the basis of soil, am I classifying on the basis of climate, vegetation? What are the black soil areas? What are the laterite soil areas? What are the alluvial soil regions? What is the red and yellow soil regions of India? What are this? Basically, these are classifying the India into on the basis of natural factors. Then comes cultural factors. What is the cultural factors? Religion, which is the region which is having too many Hindus. What about the too many Christian population, like Northeast, Kerala, Goa, parts of Andhra Pradesh? These are Christian dominated areas. So culture can be one important. What is the Hindi belt of India? What about the tribal belt of India? All of these are cultural factors. What is the Buddhist? Where is the Buddhist mostly dominated in India? Cultural factors. Then comes economic factors. What is the economic factor? Like if I'm talking about the industrial regions of India, if I'm talking about the mineral regions of India, if I'm classifying the railway zones of India, these are all economic regions. These are all economic regions. Okay. And then based on size, I can classify them into, macro, meso, macro region, meso region, micro, and local. Macro. So this is basically a size-based definition, Anna. So I call it as a macro region when I am studying a whole nation or a whole state for that matter. Meso level for studying districts. Micro level for studying a particular city or a village. Micro region for studying a particular city or a village. And then local region, a local region can be for maybe or a particular block, maybe a particular tehsil, maybe a particular community, maybe a particular street. Those are local. All right. So this is based on the size. Now coming to the most important ones, based on genesis. Based on genesis. Nave region, instituted region, planning region. Nave region, instituted region, planning region. What is a nave region? What do you understand by this English word nave? Nave means very pavam, the English word naive alone I'm explaining. Naive means a very very pavam person. He doesn't know anything. When someone says that you are so naive, it means that you are a very pavam person who doesn't know much. You don't know to, you don't have this habit of having vengeance. You're a very നിങ്ങളുണ്ട് നിങ്ങളുടെ your you and your work, that's it. You're very simple, doesn't know much about the external aspects. So something like that. Naive, when someone says that you are so naive, it means that you are so ignorant and very very innocent and stuff like that. You're innocent, that would be the better word. Naive, when I say that a region is naive, when I say a region is naive, that means these are largely naive regions, do not have a well structured boundary. They do not have a well structured boundary. Suppose let's say that I am talking about Kottayam as a district. Kottayam has a very good boundary. I know where Kottayam is starting, I know where Kottayam is ending. I know the proper boundary of Kottayam. If I'm talking about Kerala region, I know where what are the boundaries of Kerala as a state. You cannot call this as a naive region. All right. But when I am talking about, let's say, the region that was occupied by Kuru clan. You know, heard of this Kurus? Mahabharat. Let's say I'm talking about the Aryan region. Let's say that I am talking about Dravidian region. What exactly can be a Dravidian region? I know south of India is Dravidian. I know portions of completely Tamil Nadu falls under the Dravidian. Kerala also falls under the Dravidian region. But if I'm going further north, how much part of Maharashtra can I include as Dravidian? How much part of Andhra Pradesh can I include as Dravidian part? Can I include parts of Madhya Pradesh also as Dravidian? So where exactly can I draw the boundary of Dravidian region? No, there is no clear-cut boundary for this word Dravidian. Aryans. I do not know how far the Aryans have spread into India. I cannot tell it for sure. Similarly, if I'm talking about spread of Marxism in India, I cannot tell for sure how many of them are completely, purely 100% Marxist. I cannot tell them. I cannot go into the head of a person and understand whether he is following Marxist ideology or capitalist ideology. Very, very, very simply, if I have to tell, the concept of heaven, hell. Who knows where is heaven? Who knows what is hell? These are boundaryless, abstract terms. Very, very subjective. What is the spread of Aryan region? One historian will tell in a different way, another historian will tell in a different way. Abstract concepts, we cannot tell for sure. Like if I'm asking you, what about the boundary of Kottayam, you can tell it to me for sure. But what is the boundary of Aryan invasion? You cannot tell me for sure which are the areas which have been covered. So naive regions are highly abstract in nature. Naive regions have ill-defined boundaries or poorly defined boundaries or no boundaries. Second point. Third point. Naive regions, they sometimes are metaphysical in approach. What is metaphysical? Something that is not existing in this world. Something that does not exist in reality. Something that does not exist in this world. Like what? Like the concept of hell and heaven. ഇത് metaphysical concept ആണ്. If I'm talking about transmigration of soul, it is a metaphysical concept. I do not know whether I have a soul. Yes, I do have a soul, but anyways, I will not know what will happen upon me dying. Where will my soul go? These are metaphysical concepts, abstract concept ആണ്. They are not easily identifiable. They are highly subjective in nature. It will differ from one person to another. That is a naive region. That is a naive region. The next one is instituted region. Institution. If I tell you CSIP is an institution for civil service aspirants, what does that mean? That this particular organization have been created by some authority, some authoritative people for a specific purpose. This organization, CSIP, has been created by certain authoritative people for a specific purpose, and the purpose is coaching for civil service aspirants. Similarly, if I'm talking about some organization, Panchayati Raj institution that is created by the local government, it is for a specific purpose, which is grassroots level governance. So instituted region can be a local government, it can be a religious organization, it can be a part of your national level, or it can be a part of your state level, which has a specific administrative boundary. It has a specific administrative boundary. All right. Then coming to the third one, planning region. Planning region is quite simple. It's very simple. For planning, for the purpose of real-time planning, let's say that I am planning for local area development, I'm planning for hill area development. I need to first of all എവിടെയാണ് ഞാൻ പ്ലാൻ ചെയ്യാൻ പോകുന്നത് അതിന്റെ ഒരു മാപ്പ് നമുക്ക് ആവശ്യമാണ്. So planning, first step of planning is what I need to know the region for which my geographical region for which my plan is going to be executed. I need to have the proper region for which my plan is going to be executed. So suppose let's say that I am going to plan for a particular state. I need to know how much or what is the map of the state that I am going to be planning for. So the first step is for planning region. For planning region, these are identified by regionalization technique. And such regions are completely classified in the beginning, that I am going to plan for this region and I'm classifying that in the beginning only. Suppose let's say that I'm going to plan for the desert area, I will have the map of desert area. If I'm going to plan for the backward area of Jharkhand, I will be having the plan or the map of Jharkhand. So it is a segment of a territory for which a certain economic decision or economic planning is going to be applicable. I repeat, it is a segment of the territory or the whole of the territory for which an economic decision or economic planning is going to be made applicable. All right. Right. Now, this planning region can be further classified into formal region and functional region. Can be further classified into formal region and functional region. Formal regions have a certain fixed criteria. Like the criteria can be physical, like topographical conditions, climate conditions, vegetative conditions, or it can be economic, like industrial conditions, agricultural conditions, or so on. So the first example with respect to formal region is it should have a certain fixed criteria. The criteria can be physical, the criteria can be economic. The criteria can be cultural also. The criteria can be physical, economic, or it can be cultural. The criteria can be any of this. Any fixed criteria. Like if I'm talking about um, um, Malayalam linguistic region, If I'm talking about Tamil linguistic region, they are all formal regions. They are all formal regions. If I'm talking about functional regions, there should be a function that is associated with it. What sort of function? Transport is a function. Transporting goods and services is a function. Administration is a function. Newspaper being supplied is a function. Anything where there is a relationship in a particular region. If I'm talking about Kottayam, there is a relationship which is shared between Pala and Kottayam. So that can be like a bus service can take place between Pala and Kottayam. That is a function. Okay, so in a functional region, there should be a certain functional interdependence. Point number one. In a functional region, it is a geographical region which displays a certain functional interdependence, and therefore, because of this functional interdependence, they are interrelated and they are working as a single system. They are interrelated and they are working as a single system. They will have the flow of goods and services between the towns, cities, and villages. In a functional region, there will be a flow of, the word is important, underline flow of, the flow of goods and services between cities, villages, towns, etc. The criteria for the functional region can be anything. Like I've told you before, it can be an industrial region, it can be a political region, or it can be your movement of transport region, it can be a transport region, etc. Fine. So that is basically your classification or your types of different regions. So these are my classification of regions or types of regions. Any doubts on this? Can I move to the next one? I'm moving to the next one. If there is any doubts, or should I? Yes, please tell me. Okay, fine. Then let me move to the next one. Let me clear this. So the third topic that you have is, the second topic, concept of a region, types of regions, and method of regionalization. That's the next topic that you have in your syllabus sheet. Methods of, make sure that you have the syllabus sheet with you and keep following me. Methods of regionalization. Have the heading as methods of regionalization. Okay. Excuse me. What is regionalization? First of all, what is regionalization? The process of delineating a particular region is the process of regionalization. I repeat, the process of delineating a region. What is delineating? Delineating, what is delineating? It's basically classifying, drawing the boundary of. Delineating, classifying and drawing the boundary of a region. You can take anything. So the regionalization is the process of delineating regions. In other words, I am locating the boundaries of a region. I'm locating the boundaries of a region. So a region, as I have explained to you right now, can be delineated broadly from the perspective of function. I can functional region I classify Chambertin, or I can classify it as a formal region. So these are different ways in which I can delineate a region. For the purpose of simplification, I can use any of the method of grouping which I have described just now. I can use any method. I can classify it as a naive region. I can classify it as a functional region. But usually these are the ways in which you classify. Usually you classify because we are talking about either administrative reasons. For function-based classification, so mostly we'll be using functional classification or formal classification. That is essentially used for planning. That is essentially used for regional planning. So the first thing is just a second. Okay, so the first thing that we need to know is different approaches to regionalization. Different approaches to regionalization. The first approach is till World War II. Till World War II, we were going by a very empirical approach. What do you mean by empirical approach? Empirical, I've explained to you this word before. Whenever I mean empirical approach, it means I am having a very observation based studies. The first approach is, take down number one, empirical approach. Meaning I am having an observation based study. I observe the different activities that is done by the people, and based on the observation, I am classifying a particular region. So this approach was very popular till World War II. It's purely based on the observation that is given by the people. I go to people, I take their opinion, I take surveys, and that's how I come to empirical way of study. That's how I come to empirical way of study. There is a huge drawback with this. The drawback is it is based on opinions of people, and therefore it will differ from one set of people will have one opinion, another set of people will have another opinion. So it is highly subjective. It is not objective, it is highly subjective. After that, something happened, which is statistical approach. And statistical approach happened because of, can anybody tell me? It's QR, quantitative revolution. People started analyzing things more scientifically after the advent of quantitative revolution. After the advent of quantitative revolution, people started to observe or study things more scientifically. And that's when statistical based demarcation of regions came into picture. I repeat, after QR, statistical approach based regionalization came into picture. And later on, there was a combination of both empirical approach as well as statistical approach. It was a mix of empirical cum statistical approach. So let me give you examples. Even the empirical approach, it's highly based on the opinion of the people. So I go to the people, undertake some surveys, get their opinion, demarcate their region. In statistical approach, I use mathematical formulas to determine a particular region. Like one of the approach of demarcating a region I have discussed before. Can anybody remember that statistical approach of demarcating a region? I have discussed under the heading of a quantitative method of demarcating a particular region. When we studied settlement geography, there was a qualitative method, there was a quantitative method. Qualitative method is more of an empirical approach, and quantitative method of demarcating a region is more of a statistical approach. Can anybody give me or tell me the qualitative approach of city region? Quantitative approach of city region? You just have to give me the name of the scientist who dealt with qualitative approach of city region. Anybody?
R.L. Singh.
Sorry?
R.L. Singh.
Yes, it is R.L. Singh. He gave the, very good. He gave the qualitative approach with respect to a city region. What did he say? Basically, he went about analyzing the opinion of the people. He said, I will analyze the grain supply. I will analyze the vegetation, the fruits and vegetables. Where is Varanasi getting its fruits and vegetables from? What about the newspaper supply? What about the city bus service supply? These are the different things. Milk supply. These are the things which R.L. Singh observed based on the empirical observations, based on the opinion of the people. He tried to qualitatively tell what is the boundary of region of Varanasi. That is an example of regionalization. That is the best example of regionalization. Qualitative approach on it. It is a qualitative approach. That is R.L. Singh's method of qualitative analysis with respect to city region. Another thing is statistical approach. Quantitative revolution which it is scientific approach on statistical approach. Can anybody give me one theory? I've discussed many theories of quantitative approaches. One theory of quantitative approach.
Breaking point theory.
Exactly. It's breakpoint theory. BPT was one theory. Retail trade theory. How much of my retail trade, from where and all people are coming with respect to the retail trade activities. BPT, breakpoint theory, retail trade theory. And one important theory, another one. One word.
Polygon based one theory. No?
Sorry?
Polygon vegetable theory.
Your voice is breaking. Gravitational flow based theory, gravitational analysis. Gravitational analysis. Remember, I mentioned about a term called as social physics. I have two cities. I have population PA and PB. How much of the influence of city A is being felt upon city B? There is a distance X. Do you remember this social physics concept? It is a theory wherein I discussed about population of A. If it is higher, then the influence of city A will be larger. This is gravitational analysis. So gravitational analysis was also an example of quantifying the region of a particular city based on scientific factors or based on statistical approach. I repeat, gravitational analysis is an example of analyzing the influence of a city region or analyzing the boundary of a region based on statistical approach. Based on statistical approach. So these are different ways in which we can approach, or different approaches to study regionalization. Coming to the empirical cum statistical approach, coming to the third approach, empirical cum statistical approach. Just a second. So what happened was, we thought namakku oru humanitarian approach, it's very much needed. We also need a scientific approach. So for that, we thought, let's have a mix of both the scientific approach, which is the statistical approach, as well as the humanitarian opinion-based subjective approach, which is the empirical approach. And they thought there was a high need for empirical cum statistical approach. This got a tremendous support. For example, if I'm talking about the demarcation example, you can write demarcation of NCR region, National Capital Region of Delhi, demarcation of NCR region. If I'm talking about that, it involves both a statistical approach. How they demarcated the city region of Delhi involves both a statistical scientific approach as well as an empirical based approach. First of all, they classified administratively, scientifically, what is the extension of the boundaries. Second, they classified the gravitational aspect. How far, I'm sorry, the empirical, the opinion based aspect. How far are people coming from or using the metro service? How far are people studying or using the newspapers of Delhi? Migration of the people, migration pattern is a very, very important factor. How far are people daily, how far are they commuting, from what area are they commuting to Delhi? What about which are the areas from which the labor are coming from Agra? How many people are coming from UP? How many people are coming from the neighboring state of Rajasthan? How many people are coming? Migration patterns. Based on migration patterns, based on administrative boundaries, based on their city metro services, based on the labor, daily labor commutation. When I include all of this, it is a combination of scientific factors and empirical factors. And that is an example of how empirical cum statistical approach is undertaken. That is an example of how empirical cum statistical approach is undertaken. Okay. Now let's take some individual studies. Let's do this. Let me clear this. The first concept of regionalization, the first so methods of regionalization, the approaches of regionalization. You have to write about empirical approach, statistical approach, and statistical cum empirical approach, giving all the examples and theory. R.L. Singh in the method, BPT theory, retail trade theory. Example. After that, delimitation, we'll be reading about delimitation of a neighbor region, delimitation of a formal region, delimitation of a functional region. We will be studying all of this. The first thing that we are studying today is delimitation of a neighbor region. Delimitation of a neighbor region. So here you have two methods of analysis. The first thing that you need to understand is neighbor region is a borderless region, or it is a mental construct, or it is a highly subjective region. If I ask you what is the extent to which Buddhism is being spread, you will tell me a different answer. I will tell a different answer. If you ask me which are the Christian dominated areas of Kerala, it's a very subjective, it's a very subjective approach on. I cannot tell a cultural region with very crystal clear clarity. So for the analysis of a cultural region, maybe language based region, maybe religion based region, it's a very, very subjective concept. For that, I have two methods. First one is flow analysis / or qualitative analysis. Qualitative analysis. In this method, first method, in this method, first the core or node is identified. First point, in this method, core or the node is identified. Just take some running notes if you want, but we will be giving you, I will be giving you proper notes. Do not worry about the notes point of view. Maybe you can take some running notes. And the point for me to not switch on the video is I'm in a very distraught condition, as you all know, like more or less I'm recovering from COVID. So yes, that's the reason. So analyze, follow me. Core or node has to be first of all studied or identified. And based on the primary data, I can understand or I can classify what is the movement of goods and services from this node. The second thing is flow analysis. What is a flow? When do you call something to be flowing? If I'm talking about liquid, I will say there is a flow of a river from this part to this part. Similarly, I need to know about flow of goods and services that is happening from this node to how much area. Flow of goods and services from the node to what area. That will give me a rough idea of the region. That will give me a rough idea of a region. And the best example for a flow analysis is R.L. Singh's sphere of influence of a city region. R.L. Singh's sphere of influence of a city region, in which he tried to calculate the sphere of influence of the city of, or the functional sphere of influence, that will be better, of the functional sphere of influence of the city region of Varanasi. This is one method. This is one way or one method of delimitation of the name region. Second method is relative intensity analysis. Relative intensity analysis. Okay, I'll write in the next page. Relative intensity analysis. Follow me. There are two segments of space. There are two segments of space. And let me tell you that I am trying to calculate the per capita income. These are all examples that you should be actually writing in your exam. So follow me close. I am having two segments or two spatial regions, two segments of space, segment X and segment Y. I am trying to compare one aspect, which is per capita income. All right. Now I am having a fixed criteria. I am having a fixed criteria or a limit of this per capita income. I'm telling that if the per year per capita income of a person, if it is 30,000, this is the viable amount. If it is lower than this, then I will classify it in as a different, I will classify it as a low per capita income region. Low per capita income region. If it is higher than this, I will classify it as a high per capita income region. So that what is the advantage? Suppose let's say high per capita income region. What is the advantage of this? If the government wants to bring about some employment programs, they will have to concentrate only in the low per capita income region. So for understanding the economic perspective, economic function, for understanding the economic function, this can be applicable by having a fixed criteria. But understand one thing, there can be people who can belong to formal sectors, there can be people who belong to informal sectors. What is formal sector? Formal sectors of income, they will be employed maybe in a government service or maybe in a private sector, where they are getting salary on a pay slip. The salary is paid to them on a monthly basis on a pay slip. Like most of your parents will be employed in a formal sector. Monthly, they will be getting so much amount of salary from a private sector. They will be deducted PF, some daily allowances, some house rent allowances, HRA, so on. That is a formal sector. Second category is there, informal sector. My father belongs to the informal sector. I belong to the formal sector. What is informal sector? What is his daily income? He will not know. Two things. Either he has so much business that he does not know. It's a very fluctuating income. Today he'll be getting so many thousands of rupees. Tomorrow he'll be not getting anything. Fluctuating income. A person who's like a Swiggy delivery boy will have a fluctuating income. The Swiggy gig economy, you call that as a gig economy, fluctuating income. A person who's having a retail business will have a fluctuating income. A street vendor, who's a street vendor? A person who sells vegetables by the street is a street vendor. Street vendor will have a fluctuating income. He belongs to the informal sector. Ivarakka, follow me very, very closely. They will not disclose the income clearly to they will not be paying taxes. Even there are some businessmen, even there are some street vendors, like there are many, believe me, there are many street vendors in North India selling your regular chat items, your regular Maggi noodles. They get so much of income that they are liable to pay taxes, but they will hide a portion of their income. So this happens in Bombay, this happens in Delhi and stuff like that, where there are many rich street vendors, but they will not disclose their income. What will happen is when you're calculating the per capita income, they will disclose only some portion of their income, and therefore it is highly difficult to calculate per capita income in a country like India. Chelaraka formal sectors I can't proper to disclose but so you can calculate their per capita income. For the others, it is becoming pretty difficult. To calculate the per capita income, and that is the reason why we are putting it under NAVE region. The best analysis for calculating a naive region based per capita income is the relative intensity analysis, where at least using their disclosed income, I can calculate based on the relative idea. Based on the relative idea, I first of all fixed a criteria. 30,000 it's a very decent amount. If someone is getting more than that, I will calculate as a high income region. If someone is getting less than that, I will calculate as a low income region. So here, what am I using as a differentiating factor? I am having a fixed criteria, and based on the relative intensity, I will calculate the limitation of a particular region. The boundaries are still not very clear. Follow me very closely. Again, here, the boundaries are still not very clear because there are certain people who will not disclose their income perfectly. That is why we call this as a naive region. So the naive region delimit ചെയ്യാനായിട്ട് രണ്ട് method ആണ് നമ്മൾ പഠിച്ചത്. ആദ്യം it's the flow analysis or the qualitative analysis. The best example is R.L. Singh's method. The second example is relative intensity analysis, where I am comparing the intensity, comparing a particular factor of two regions on the basis of a fixed criteria. Okay, so that is about delimitation of a naive region. Tomorrow in the next class, we'll be analyzing delimitation of formal region and delimitation of a functional region. All right, any doubts in these two headings? Flow analysis and relative intensity analysis. Any doubts in today's class? We'll wind up the session if there is no doubts. We'll meet tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Fine, then we'll meet tomorrow. And by the end of tomorrow's session, I will give you the printed notes, PDF. I will share it with you. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye. Good night, everybody.